Greetings all, this is Nick from Those Hairy Gamers back again to read your comments. Now, before we start today's episode, I just want to say a massive thank you to you guys. A few days ago I posted a video on the fundamentals of list building. I asked you guys to submit your X-Wing lists to get reviewed, and this was actually at the request of one of you guys. And the response that video got was incredible. I've been inundated with lists and explanations as to why you guys fly certain things. There is such a strong sense on this channel of you guys wanting to interact, which is so good because that's exactly what I wanted when I started to make this channel. I wanted to make this entire thing a two-way discussion. And you guys seem to be really into that. And I'm really excited about the response it's got. I'm really excited about the future of this channel because it seems to be really working in the way I wanted it to work. And the fact that you guys want to have this discussion about X-Wing and you guys want to learn and want to know and want to share your own ideas is so awesome. And I just wanted to say a big thank you for that, guys. List review videos on their way. But we're not going to look at those comments today. We're going to have a look at some comments from some of the other videos. First of all, we have Argerios Mavrodist. Now, this was on my Bosk upgrade tech video. Just curious, do you take time restraints into consideration with these videos? If not, I would love to see a video going through each of the TIE fighters and TIE FOs in terms of when you would add them to a list these days. I mean, Omega Leader is played a lot, but I don't think things like Zeta Ace with Intensity gets played. When I had a Swarm Leader list, I liked my Zeta Ace and Epsilon Leader combos. Okay, sure. I've already done a video talking about the Quad Jumper and the different parts. I'd be more than happy to do TIE Fighters as well. In fact, I had another comment somewhere asking about Rebel TIE Fighters, so I might do a three-parter talking about regular TIE Fighters, FO TIE Fighters, and Rebel TIE Fighters. I will say though that, yes, I get the frustration that one pilot seems to prevail and then the rest of them don't get played, but that's just how the meta works. You gotta remember, this game's made by an R&D department of people who try to balance things as best they can, but it's not always easy to make things perfectly balanced. In the end, the meta pretty much always makes only one pilot from each ship prevail, indeed if the ship prevails at all. But that doesn't mean that the other pilots aren't competitive, it just means they don't really prevail in the current meta, and there certainly are fun builds to use on all these different TIE fighter pilots. This is another comment from that same video. This is from Jay Botero. TLT won't trigger Bosk unless both shots miss. Dude, you're absolutely right, I made a mistake. Bosk says when you miss attacks, and the ruling on things like TLT and cluster missiles when you take two attacks is you must miss both. And this kind of dismantles the build I was kind of talking about. So maybe you consider taking like a dorsal turret or something. TLT is still okay in this list. It's not terrible. You can still miss twice with it, but obviously that reliability kind of goes away a bit. So thank you for the correction. And I just want to point out at this stage as well, if I make a mistake in my videos, tell me. I'm not going to get angry. I'm just going to say, thanks dude, and I'll mention it in one of these comment videos because it's very important. I am a very skeptical person. I'm very much invested in making sure the information I tell you guys is correct, so I will always post corrections to facts I got wrong. The next comment was from our Wave 12 reveal. This is from Sal V. Love your channel and just subscribed. Thanks, dude. Your wishing for the Gauntlet Fighter is exactly what I have been hoping for myself. Would love to run a Gauntlet Protectorate Mandalorian list. Ooh, me too, dude. My question on this, would the Gauntlet ship be a large base ship? Then the Deathwatch Troop Carrier also? Great work and great video. Long live the Tim Tam Slam, which I had with my morning coffee during video. Alright, first of all, for those of you who don't know what a Tim Tam Slam is, this is a classic Australian pastime. It's when you take a Tim Tam, which for those of you who don't know is like this chocolate wafer biscuit, which is incredible, try it if you haven't. You bite off both of the ends so the inner chocolate wafer is exposed on both ends of the biscuits, and then you suck your morning coffee / tea / Milo, which is an Australian hot chocolate drink, through the Tim Tam. I will say that I don't like doing this. I don't like soggy Tim Tams. It's not how I like to enjoy them. But it's good to know that the Australian spirit is still alive and well on this channel. As for the Gauntlet Fighter, yes, I am so pumped for it. I want it to be in the game so badly. I'm hoping that SWX-71 is the Gauntlet Fighter, although I also kind of hope it's an X-Wing fixed pack, so that's okay too. As to the size, it would have to be a large base ship, so it is physically actually wider than the Ghost, so it's massive. It's actually bordering on sort of epic in size, but there's no way it could be an epic ship in this game. It just wouldn't make any sense. I'm thinking what they're going to do is they're going to put it on a large base ship and actually scale it down a bit. FFG do occasionally tinker with the scaling to make sure ships fit on their bases in this game, so I'm thinking that's what's going to happen with the Gauntlet Fighter. The next comment is from the Wave 13 reveal. This is from Egyptian 316. It's an interesting strategy. This is in relation to the Resistance Bomber, by the way. Since range doesn't matter, you could take a pot shot to rattle an enemy right away. Flying a rattled ship into a proximity of Crimson Leader would be scary. He tosses thermal detonators at you with a Sabine on the map, and it's 2 damage, 1 critical. And 1 stress token with no dice roll, no defense. That's instant death for Sunterfell and probably a short timer for the Inquisitor. That's very true. All of those factors are a big thing. It's interesting that we've got another big hitting bomber in the game when the Rebels already have Nym and Miranda, so it'll be interesting to see how Crimson Leader goes in terms of fitting into the meta. It simply might not prevail because while it looks like an excellent bomber, it might not be good as Nym or Miranda. But early signs seem to indicate it's going to be very powerful. The second part I want to bring up is, you mentioned that this is instant death for Soontir and the Inquisitor, and I just want to say, when we're talking about instant damage in the game of X-Wing, this is something that always happens. People bring up Sunterfell and the Inquisitor, because obviously they have relatively low health and a very high point cost, meaning that their health costs lots of points, and if you lose it immediately, it's a big deal. This happened back with Black Market Slicer Tools, when that was revealed in the Lancer Pursuit Craft expansion. And what happened, on many forums I was a part of, a lot of Imperial players really flipped out, saying it was basically broken, it was going to ruin the game, Sunterfell was pushed out of the meta so hard, it wasn't fair, Scum have too many tactics, blah 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 blah. A lot of salt was essentially being thrown around. And I just want to say, you have to remember Sunterfell is so good at dodging these bad situations. Yeah, bombs are scary for aces, but Sunterfell and the Inquisitor both have access to amazing dials, they both have boosted barrel roll, and they always take push to limits. Meaning unless you really fly around them well or back them into a corner, it's actually going to be really hard to hit them with bombs, even if you can throw them forward. The situations with Black Market Slicer Tool were the same. When those came up in enemy lists, they just outflew them. I will say though, Black Market Slicer Tool is still a good tool against the Inquisitor and Sunterfell because it forces them to fly in ways they might not want to. But overall, it's not a strong card that worked unless you were specifically flying against Imperial aces. And from that point of view, I think Crimson Leader with this bombing technique will be a bit better because I think throwing bombs forward with a 5 straight template is always going to be strong. But you have to remember the balance is scaled into the way the card functions. Yes, it's going to be the most valuable against aces. It's also going to be the hardest to use against aces because they are going to be able to fly around the bombs much more easily. I guess what I'm trying to say is instant damage in the game of X-Wing is powerful, but it always comes at a balanced cost. The next comment is also from the Wave 13 reveal. This is from Matt Mem. What do I do with Kylo? Leave him in the box. Dude, that's harsh, man. That's harsh. I don't think Kylo Ren's going to be unplayable. I know I was a bit down on him in the video. But I think a lot of Imperial players are looking at the 35 point cost and just going, nah, it's too expensive. There's no way. Because all in all, Imperial players are used to having relatively low cost ships because they don't have much hull or they rely on high agility and they're very squishy. Kylo Ren has 2 shields, 3 hull, 3 agility and 3 attack. The stats are there. Everything works out to 35 points. I think you have to step outside of your Imperial shoes for a moment and think about Scum and Rebel players, particularly Rebel, who have had high-costed pilots since the game began. Particularly things like PS9 Poe and Corran Horn, they're both in the sort of low to mid 30s range and they get played. I compare Kylo Ren to Corran Horn and I think, yeah, I think this actually takes it to Corran Horn in terms of how usable it is. So don't write him off too quickly. I think he's going to be quite good. I think he's going to be an amazing combo with Rear Admiral Shenru. I think if you get him at a sort of low 40s kind of squad point cost, that's going to be a really cool combo. They both play around with criticals. Yeah, it's not going to be your standard Imperial Ace type of build, and definitely don't write them off too soon. Alright, the last comment we're looking at today is from my last comment reading video. This is from Mad1 or Madone314, I'm not sure. Harry Nick, I've been watching your channel since Gun for Hire reveal video and watched every video since. Thank you, dude. That's really nice of you to say. Could you do a video discussing frames, as you mentioned in your video? I.e., what makes a good, bad frame? Is a frame a single ship or a list as a whole? And can ships that not necessarily good frames be on a list as a whole as a good frame? Thanks. Keep the videos coming. Thanks, dude. That's really, really nice of you to say. It's comments like these that just really sort of make me happy and make me glad that I'm making videos and encourage me to make more. In terms of frames, you wanting to know what those are. Basically, frames are the raw stats of a ship if you ignore pilots, their abilities, and the pilot skill and the APT slot. For example, the frame of a Kirax fighter is 20 points for 3 red dice, 2 green dice, 4 hull and 1 shield. It has an illicit and a missile, and this is the dial that it has. These stats are the frame. When we're talking about pilot skill or pilot ability or symbiosis, that's everything that goes on top of it. And I made the comment about frames in the video where I was discussing the fundamentals of list building, because you do need good frames on your list to make sure that you can win games. You can sort of get away with worse frames if you have really powerful symbiosis with your upgrades, but all in all, this is a very important part of list building. Now, I will say that I will be making a video on frames because we were doing faction comparisons. We did a crew video a couple weeks ago, and I want to make a video on the different frames on the different faction. I also want to make a video on the different pilots in the different factions, but that's going to come later. We've got a lot of videos scheduled coming up soon. We have Magic the Gathering Ixalan release, and that's going to take up a lot of my time in terms of making videos. But don't worry, dude, I will get it, and thank you so much for the comment. Anyway, that's it for today, guys. Thank you so much for all the awesome comments. I will catch you later on. See ya.